And the pitch count now is 1-1. And 1-1 the count now. Two and one now the count. As Morgan Nowakowski is in the batter's box. 2-1 the count with 2 outs. And fouled back for strike number 2. Two and two is hit towards the third baseman and out at first. That'll make 3 outs for the Gamecocks. And with 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on base, we move to the bottom of the first inning. No score in Montgomery.
1 run off 1 hit, 0 errors with
And back live here in Montgomery as Alabama State is about to come up to bat. With number 1, the center fielder, Kendall DeRamus. DeRamus coming in with a .280 batting average. And let's see what she can do here. And the first pitch thrown to DeRamus is called for strike 1. And the next pitch is popped up into right center. And that'll be a big start for DeRamus. And now coming up to bat, number 3, the left fielder, Bailey Greenlee. .233 batting average on the year. She's usually pitching, and of course I believe she is the ace pitcher for Alabama State. But she's batting towards the top of the lineup, which I don't think we've seen throughout the year. She's usually kind of midway in the batting order. And the first pitch thrown to Greenlee is called for ball 1. And got a little situation here. I believe the, as we've seen it a lot all year, as the calls for the pitchers on their wrist. But I think there was kind of a paper issue there where it may have slid out, but now they've got it fixed now for Jacksonville State. Count for Greenlee is 1-0. As Holmes throws the 1-0 pitch. And again, Greenlee tried to bunt for it again. And again, the count now is 2-0. And the 2-0 pitch, again, is bunted by Greenlee, but fouled back for strike one. 2-1 the count. And again, welcome into today's matchup between Jacksonville State in the all-black and Alabama State in the all-white. Great crowd on hand here at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. And Greenlee tried to pop it towards left field, but fouls it back. Again, the count now 2-2. Here in the bottom of the first inning, Jacksonville State with a 1-0 lead. Here in this matchup is Atlantic Sun versus SWAC. And the 2-2 pitch, again by Greenlee, is fouled back. Greenlee trying to hang in here. She tried to hit it towards the left field a couple of pitches ago, but let's see if she can straighten it up. And the 2-2, Greenlee swinging, went down swinging for strike three. That'll be out number one for Alabama State. And now coming up with a .412 batting average, number 5, right fielder Alexia Denby. Batters 4, 5, and 6 in the lineup are coming up next for Alabama State. Again, one out for the Hornets. And Holmes throws the first pitch for strike one. And the 0-1 pitch thrown a little high for ball one. And again, the 1-1 pitch thrown high for ball two. One out for the Hornets. Runner at second. And big swing by Denby for strike number two. And Holmes with the 2-2. Again, catching the last two batters with the high pitches. And that'll be 2 outs for the Hornets here in the bottom of the first. And up to bat now, number 27, the first baseman, Alex Preston. And the first pitch by Holmes is thrown at the corner of the base for strike one. And the 0-1 pitch is called for ball one. Runner at second. The 1-1, a little high and outside for ball two. And the 2-1. Let's see if she went. Yes, she did. Preston went for strike number two. And we've seen it with Holmes so far. She's been throwing the pitches up. and we've had 2 batters fall for it so far. And the 2-2. Catches are swinging for strike number 3, and that will be out number 3 for Alabama State as we move to the top of the second inning with no runs. Let's give you the update here. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on base. We'll move to the top of the second inning. Your score, Jacksonville State 1, Alabama State 0.
Number 16, right fielder Hannah Buffington.
And welcome back to Montgomery as Jacksonville State will start off the top of the second inning with the 7th batter, number 16, right fielder Hannah Buffington. And the first pitch by Pye is hit to the third baseman, thrown over to first for out number 1.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, catcher number 15.
And now coming up to bat, the batters 8, 9, and 1 coming up next for the Gamecocks as number 15, Abby Perkins, is now up to bat. And the first pitch is called for ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch, low and in the dirt for ball number 2. Got a big series coming up this weekend as Florida A&M comes to town. Friday at 5, Saturday at 3, and Sunday at 1. I know a lot of people saw in the weather forecast coming up as the 2-0 pitch is now called for ball 3. We'll have some rain in the forecast coming up later this weekend, but we'll definitely keep you tuned in on our social media pages on the matchups for this weekend. And the 3-0 pitch will walk Abby Perkins for ball number 4 over to first base.
Center fielder number 2, Lauren Hunt.
And now coming up, number 2, Lauren Hunt. Top of the second inning, no out, 1 out for the Gamecocks. And the pitch by Pye is called for ball 1 as Perkins was leaning in for the bunt. And the 1-0 pitch is now called 1-1. And Lauren Hunt for Jacksonville State up. And as she fouls it back, now for strike two, 1-2 the count. One and two the count. And the 1-2 is now called for ball two. 2-2 the count. And Pye throws it in, picked up by the third baseman, and that will put two runners on the bags for Jacksonville State.
Back to the top of the lineup for the Gamecocks.
And now for Jacksonville State, top of the lineup, Ashley Phillips. After Phillips batters 2, 3, and 4 for the Gamecocks. And the first pitch as Phillips goes for the swing and is called for strike one. And the next pitch is called for ball one. The 1-1 is bunted, and Phillips is thrown out at first base. However, that advances runners to second and third for the Gamecocks. Coming up, number 12, Emma Jones. Two outs. Pye with the first pitch is hit out into left field and is knocked towards the warning track. That's going to bring 1 run, 2 runs in.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, first baseman.
And that'll make the score 3-0 here in the top of the second. And now coming up to bat, in the fourth spot, number 22, Lindley Tubbs. Richardson and then Tubbs up to bat. And again, a little meeting of the minds here. And let's see what we got here. 2 outs now for Jacksonville State as Richardson comes up to bat. And next up, Tubbs. And with 2 outs, the first pitch by Pye is called for ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch knocked towards the dugout, the Alabama State side. And that'll put it at 1-1 with 2 outs.
I need some snacks when I'm in the baseball. When you tell me, come over, I'm here. I don't even know where it's at. I don't even know where that's at.
And 1-1 called for strike 2.
I'm about to say, Fred, you see that board? No, I'm hot. I'm black and I got on all black.
And the 1-2 in the dirt for ball 2. And the 2-2 is hit towards shortstop, grounded up, and thrown over to first for out number 3. And we'll give you the update here before we move on. And with 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base, we move to the bottom of the second inning. Jacksonville State 3, Alabama State 0.
No errors with number 4, Lauren Maher.
And now, welcome back to the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. As Lauren Maher comes up to bat, Joseph Moore here in a crowded press box here. Score Jacksonville State 3, Alabama State 0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning on a beautiful day here in Montgomery. And the first pitch is called for strike 1. And the 0-1 pitch is called for ball 1. 1-1 the count. Alabama State with only 1 hit in the game today. And the next pitch by Holmes is called for strike number 2. Now, we've seen it a couple of times here today as she's thrown the pitch a little low and brought it up high, and we've seen a couple of batters go down. The 1-2. And catches are swinging with the same pitch that I just mentioned.
Next up at
And
bat
that
for
will
the Hornets,
sit
third
Maher
baseman,
down
number 22,
as we bring
Kiana
up the
Parrish.
6th spot. Number 22, third base, Kiana Parrish.
Yes, I be lifting weights in the gym.
One out now for the Hornets. And the first pitch, again for strike one. We've seen Holmes get in a mode there. And thrown high by Holmes for ball one. Count now 1-1 with 1 out for the Hornets. And the next pitch is hit towards the pitcher and thrown to first for out number 2.
Shortstop number 21, Elena Scott.
And Parrish went down to make it for out number 2. And now up to bat for the Hornets, number 21, Elena Scott.
Oh no, that's her that has a concussion. So I slid yesterday because I bruised my butt when I was sliding the other day. So I changed your slide up a little? Yeah.
And the first pitch thrown to Scott is called for strike one.
That's what my daughter plays, and she'll get her leg will just get raw really hard ground, and so she'll change it up a little, and she'll be like, I said, you just gotta.
And the 0-1 is fouled back for strike number 2.
Oh wow, yeah, that was me too.
What, that was you too? You were catching it then? What was the, I mean, what
I
was
didn't do anything.
so what was her purpose? You were standing at
I
the plate,
tagged her. She
you
had
got
been
out
talking-
3.
She had been talking the whole time, but what had happened was I wasn't.
And the pitch by Holmes is thrown way outside for ball number 1.
Right, I tagged her softly, so she was mad the whole game, like talking crap the whole game. So I knew she wanted to start something the whole time, and it just happened to be me.
And Holmes with the 1-2 pitch is fouled back.
Yeah, my daughter plays at Wallace High School. I clipped it off and sent it to her. So I'm like, follow it and watch. You're a celebrity, girl. It's crazy. Yeah, that's it.
It was a mess. Like,
I mean, but you just
And the 1-2 thrown high for ball number 2. 2-2 the count. And the 2-2 hit and down in left field. And that will put Elena Scott on first and bring up
Next at bat for the
Jasmine
Hornets,
Rogers.
Number 8, Jasmine Rogers.
And the first pitch to Rogers is called for strike one. Rogers with a heavy swing.
That's a whole scholarship. That's her scholarship.
that's why they carry 15 people on their roster because they don't have enough funding. Like they don't have enough money.
But you can't give but 12.
And the 0-1 hit for strike number 2. And Elena Scott steals second. And you can hear the fuss there from the Jacksonville State faithful. But Elena Scott is safe in scoring position on second base. And the 0-2 went down swinging for strike number 3, and now out number 3 for Alabama State. And with no runs, 1 hit, and no errors, and 1 left on base, we head to the top of the 3rd inning. Your score, Jacksonville State 3, Alabama State 0.
Errors with 1 left on base.
And welcome back to Montgomery on a beautiful spring day here in the capital city, as Jacksonville State unfortunately has a 3-0 lead over Alabama State. And we hope you are watching our game tonight, but you can also catch us on our YouTube channel, Alabama State Sports, as well as searching the page here on BamaStateSports.com. You can go to the schedule, scroll down, and not only catch our live stats, but our live stream here today. And with Jacksonville State, Lindley Tubbs up to bat for the Gamecocks. Tubbs 2-0 in the box, and the 2-0 pitch is thrown for strike 1.
Look at my popcorn. I'm over here. She over-flavored it. How it taste? And then she puts her sugar on top of it.
Sugar?
Yeah, I put sugar on
Oh, you did? Okay. I thought they were.
And the 2-1 pitch is hit to the third baseman and thrown over to first for out number 1.
Next up at bat for the game.
Bang, bang play.
Number 23, Holly Stewart.
Parrish to Preston, as that'll bring up Holly Stewart in the 5th spot. Batters 6, 7, 8, and 9 coming up next for the Gamecocks.
Come on, place out orders before I get comfortable.
And Pye with the pitch, and is hit towards center field. Does Stewart.
Next up at bat for the
And
Gamecocks,
coming up for the
left fielder,
Gamecocks,
number
number 7,
Nowakowski.
Morgan Nowakowski. And got a little break in the action here, as that will put the runner at first.
I had pressed it, but I seen it went somewhere else.
And coming in for the Gamecocks, number 10, Ella Pate, as she'll be a pinch runner on first. And the pitch to Nowakowski is hit towards Pye, and Was going to make an attempt to throw it to first, but Nowakowski got to first just in time.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, right
And
fielder,
now coming
number
up to bat,
16,
number
Hannah
16, Hannah Buffington for Jacksonville State.
No, we double press. It's like, it is.
Oh no, it was a error. We seen it.
Runners at first and second for the Gamecocks. And Pye with the pitch, thrown for strike one. Big swing by Buffington.
You don't get it doesn't have your own base percentage either. I mean, like, at least you could say, well, like, my daughter slaps, and so, okay, the third baseman makes
And the 0-1 goes again for strike number two.
but she doesn't get anything, and that's her only ball.
Two big pitches by Pye.
She's a freshman at Wallace Hansel. Yeah, I played with her father.
And the 0-2 is called for ball two. Pitch just a little bit high. Looks a little bit above the shoulders there. And the 1-2 is hit towards the shortstop, out at second, and safe at first is Buffington. However, that puts 2 outs
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, catcher
for
number
the
15,
Gamecocks.
Abby Perkins.
Let's see if Pye can sit this one down. Up to bat now. Number 15 in the 8th spot, Abby Perkins. And with the first pitch is called for strike one.
Yeah, but, I mean, it seems like some of those have got ball calls on. She's got another ball out. I mean, I'm sure it's hitting on the front corner. Hers is moving a lot more.
And the 0-1 hit towards the third baseman and thrown over to first for, well, that'll back them all up now, as it was called for foul, but that will put 1 ball and 1 strike on the board with, the 0-2 count with 2 outs. And low and in the dirt for ball number 1. And the 1-2 is called for strike number 3. 3 strikes will make 3 outs for the Hornets with no runs, 1 hit, and 2 errors with 2 left on base.
That'll do it for the top of the third, ladies and gentlemen. No runs.
With no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 left on base. For the correction there, we move to the bottom of the third inning with your score: Jacksonville State 3, Alabama State 0.
For more information on Alabama State softball, follow us on Twitter at Bama State SB. You can also visit BamaStateSports.com for rosters, bios, stats, and so much more.
And welcome back. We've had a brief delay in the action here. We had an issue with the lineup
Abby Perkins at bat.
where Abby Perkins is at bat now, so it's going to make it, they're going to put the count back at 1-2 with 2 outs. There was an issue in the lineup where Lauren Maher was originally put in the 5th jersey on the lineup. However, it was marked through on number 4, so in that case, because Denby is number 5, it now puts a situation where Jacksonville State kind of took advantage of an opportunity here as they saw a little issue in the lineup. And we basically have the last count, and with 2 outs now, Jacksonville State scores the last run.
So it should be 3-4-0-0-2-2.
So basically what we have here is that Jacksonville State kind of took advantage of a legality with an issue in the lineup because they originally put Maher at number 5, but now crossed it out and put number 4. So with the opportune time, as they had 2 runners on base in scoring position to kind of take advantage of an opportunity here. I know it's a complicated issue. We actually had one of the umpires had to leave the stadium to make a call with the SWAC officials to determine the call. And Pye with the pitch calls it for 1-0. Now with 2 outs, 2 runners on base for the Gamecocks. And right now we have number 5 for Jacksonville State knocks in another run for the Gamecocks, makes it 5-0. But now a situation is put in play where I guess they had the right people on base and the right time to score, and they took advantage of a situation now which has put the Hornets in trouble, 5-0, and now with only 2 outs in the bottom half of the inning, the top half of the inning of the 4th. And the pitch is now called strike 1.
No, not that. 5-5-0.
And with a pitch count of now 0-2, fouled back for Ashley Phillips. And the 0-2 pitch is now called for strike 2. And hit into right center. And that will bring 2 runs around. as Kendall DeRamus tried to make the diving catch in right center, and it cost him. And now the score is 7-0. And with 2 outs, the first pitch by Pye is called for ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch is called for ball 2. As Emma Jones is up to bat. And the 2-0 is bunted for foul. And correction, we are in the top of the 3rd inning with a 2-1 count with 2 outs. And Pye threw the 2-1 pitch in the dirt and kind of bounced back. Now the count 3-1. And the 3-1 as Emma Jones tried to bunt it forward. Now making the count 3-2. And the 3-2 pitch is hit to the second baseman. And now, finally, for 3 outs, and we'll get the sum. And with 4 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors,
That'll do it for the 3rd inning, ladies and gentlemen. That was 4 runs off 3 hits.
and 1 left on base, we move to the bottom of the 3rd inning with your score: Jacksonville State 7, Alabama State 0. And welcome back to Montgomery as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning with Jacksonville State leading Alabama State 7-0 as we bring up the heavy hitter, number 14, Jada Gardner, 367 batting average, and she hits it out into left field and gets on base. Good start. Good
Back to the top of the lineup for the Hornets.
Good start for Jada.
At center fielder, number 1, Kendall Duramus.
And here comes number 1, Kendall Duramus. She tried to make the diving catch in center field, but what an effort in the previous inning. Let's see if she can get some more runs here for Alabama State. And the first count and the first pitch by Holmes is called for ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch thrown high for ball 2. And the next pitch thrown by Holmes for 2-1. And a big hit by Duramus, fouled back into left field for strike 2. 2-2 the count. Here in the bottom of the third inning, Jack State leading Alabama State 7-0. And again, the 2-2 pitch, fouled back. And the 2-2 fouled back again. Duramus battling at the plate. And Holmes again with a 2-2. Will sit Duramus down, and Jada Gardner went for the steal at second, and that'll make 2 outs for Alabama State. And now coming up to bat, number 3, Bailey Greenlee. And the first pitch thrown to Greenlee for ball 1. And the 1-0 fouled back for strike 1. 2 outs now, bottom of the third inning. Jacksonville State 7, Alabama State nothing. Again here in the bottom of the third. As I said earlier in the game, great crowd on hand. Alabama State always brings their faithful, but I know a lot of the Jacksonville State fans came down 231 for this game here today. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes for Greenlee. And correction, came down 21 to 231. And that will be strike number 3 for Alabama State, which will make 3 outs. As we head to the top of the 4th inning with your score, Jacksonville State 7, Alabama State nothing. And with no runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 left on base. And again, no runs. Off 1 hit, no errors, and none left on base. We head to the top of the 4th inning with your score. Jacksonville State 7, Alabama State, nothing.
The Gamecocks.
And welcome back to the Barbara Williams Softball Complex here at the Alabama State University campus. Matchup today, the Atlantic Sun Jacksonville State facing off against the SWAC's Alabama State. Jacksonville State holding on to a 7-0 lead here in the top of the fourth inning. As up to bat is number 17, Lindsey Richardson in the third spot. Batters 4, 5, and 6 coming up next for the Gamecocks. And Richardson hits it to shortstop, and a delay there on the throw as it kind of bounced up in the dirt to the first baseman. However, Richardson will be safe at first. And now coming up to bat, number 4, number 20 in the fourth spot, number 22, Lindley Tubbs. And it looks like Jacksonville State will be bringing in a pinch runner. And that will bring in number 24, Sidney Wagnon.
Pitch runner for the Gamecocks, number 24, Sidney Wagnon.
And the first pitch thrown to Pye is called for ball one, and not sure if Pye, she almost got hit by the throw. She ducked down just enough. However, that will put Wagnon on second base. And the 1-0 pitch is thrown for strike one. And Pye with the 1-1 pitch as it's hit to Richardson. And my goodness, she is safe at first.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, third base.
Excuse me, correction, that was Alex Preston on first. Leah usually plays first base from time to time. My goodness. And the pitch to Holly Stewart is knocked out of the park in center field. That will bring around 1 run and now 2 runs, which will make the score 9-0. Jacksonville State with a heavy lead here in the top of the fourth.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, left fielder number 7, Morgan Nowakowski.
And now coming up for the Gamecocks, number 7, the left fielder, Morgan Nowakowski. Score now 10-0 here in the top of the fourth. And the first pitch by Pye to Nowakowski is called strike one. And that is Pye through the pitch, and unfortunately, the umpire called it an illegal pitch, which will advance Nowakowski over to first base. And Todd Bradley's coming out to argue the situation here. Again, top of the fourth inning. 10-0 your score. And just a reminder, while we have a break in the action, Alabama State and Florida A&M will continue SWAC competition this weekend here at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. First game on Friday at 5 p.m., second game on Saturday, 3 p.m., and rounding out the three-game series on Sunday at 1 p.m. And, of course, we do have some weather in the area, as I believe some rain is trying to come into the area this weekend. But anything happens, we will give you all the updates on our social media page as well as BamaStateSports.com. Again, Friday's games at 5 p.m., Saturday at 3, and Sunday at 1. And it looks like we may be bringing in a new pitcher. Not sure what's going on at the circle here. It looks like Pye is still in the game. And again, we have a meeting of the minds near third base.
Right fielder number 16, Hannah Buffington.
And now coming up to bat, number 16, Hannah Buffington. And the 1-1 pitch to Buffington is called ball 2.
So what's the count right now? He needed to be count. Because is it 1 or 2?
And the 2-1 fouled back for strike 2. Count now 3-2. And Pye sits down Buffington for out number 1.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks, catcher number 15, Abby Perkins.
And now coming up to bat in the 8th spot, Abby Perkins. One out now. Top of the 4th. And the first pitch to Perkins is called for strike 1. And the next pitch called for strike 2. And the 0-2 is hit to the shortstop, thrown over to first. And that will put the runner, Perkins, over at first. Up to bat now, number 2 for the Gamecocks, Lauren Hunt. And the bunt by Hunt is fouled back for strike 1. And the 0-1 is in the dirt for ball 1. Count now 1-1. And the hit by Hunt will make bases loaded for the Gamecocks. And that'll bring up at the top of the lineup, number 1, Ashley Phillips. And Phillips hits the ball up in foul territory, and that will be out number 2 for the Gamecocks. And coming up to bat in the second spot, number 12, Emma Jones. And the first pitch to Jones is ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch. Pitched a little outside for ball 2.
My leg's starting to go to sleep. Oh, you know how to do that, Dad? Certificate of appreciation. Who we appreciate it? Who's Al Treese? Cards next.
And the 2-0
Strike.
is called for strike 1.
That's why I told Fred I need a high chair. I need a stool or something.
And the 2-1 pitch is fouled back near the bullpen for strike 2. 2-2 the count.
Central, our press box was a little higher up, and it's a little closer to the net. So you have to sit in high chair.
And the 2-2. Greenlee tried to go for the diving catch, and that has brought around 2 runs, making the score now 12-0.
Next up at bat for the Gamecocks.
Excuse me, 13-0.
Number 17, first baseman Lindsey Richardson.
And that'll bring up in the 3rd spot Lindsey Richardson. And it looks like Alabama State is going to make a pitching change. And we'll take a timeout with 2 outs. Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State nothing. And welcome back. Joseph Moore here.
What you mean? Is she right here?
As a pitching change has occurred, as for Alabama State, number 6, Haley Dyson. 2 outs now. Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State 0. Tough game for the Hornets today. And the pitch now is called ball. And the pitch hit to the second baseman, thrown to first, and that will be out number 3 for the Gamecocks. As we have 6 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, 1 left on base. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Your score, Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State nothing.
That was 6 runs off 5 hits, 2 errors with 1 left on base. Now batting for the Hornets, number 5, right fielder, Alexia Denby.
And welcome back. Joseph Moore here. Up to bat, number 5, Alexia Denby for the Hornets. And the first pitch to Denby is swung wildly for strike 1. And the next pitch is called for ball 1. And the 1-1 is swung again for strike 2. And the next pitch by Holmes is called for 2-2. And that'll be strike number 3 for Denby and make out number 1 for the Hornets.
First baseman, number 27.
And now coming up to bat, number 27, Alex Preston. And the first pitch by Holmes is called for strike 1. And the next pitch called for ball 1. And the 1-1 is called for strike 2. And the 1-2 thrown high for ball 2. And the 2-2. Did she go? No, she didn't. Count now 3-2, full count. And with the 3-2 pitch, that will make strike 3 and now make 2 outs for the Hornets.
Next up at bat for the Hornets.
In the bottom of the 4th inning.
Lauren Maher.
And now coming up to bat in the 5th spot, number 4 catcher Lauren Maher. And the first pitch is now called for ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch is now called for strike 1. And the 1-1 is now called for strike 3. And with no runs, no hits, no errors, none left on base, we move to the top of the 5th inning with your score, Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State nothing.
No hits, no errors with none left on base.
And now Jacksonville State up to bat in the top of the 5th inning with a big 13-0 lead over Alabama State. And coming up to bat, pinch hitting for the Gamecocks, number 8, Brantley Bonds.
There's a couple of dope boys out of Columbus that I fool with. They'll do Shakespeare, I mean not Shakespeare, the Springer Theater does on Friday nights, they'll do a notion, they call it No Shame Theater, you get 5 minutes. Yeah, I need to try to get like 15 people.
And the first pitch, low and in the dirt for ball 1.
Yeah, I want to perform in Columbus a little more. They had me in this bar in Columbus. It was real nice on the strip. It was like jazz, and it was a restaurant, and it was a stage in there. It was real good.
And the next pitch is thrown inside for ball 2. And the 2-1 pitch by Dyson is called for ball 3. And now count now 3-2 for the Gamecocks. And Dyson with the 3-2 and is hit into left field. Greenlee kind of bobbled it a little bit, but thrown back to the second baseman. And that will put Bonds on first base. Now it's batted in the fifth spot, number 23, Holly Stewart. And a big hit into left field, popped up and caught by Greenlee for out number 1. And it looks like Jacksonville State is going to bring in another pinch hitter, number 18, Hannah Brown. And the first pitch by Dyson is called for strike 1. And the 0-1 called for ball 1. And the 1-1 is called for ball 2. And the 2-1 is now called for ball 3. And the 3-1 count for Dyson, by Dyson, is now full count, 3-2. And the 3-2 is popped up. Will it be caught by the catcher? And caught by the catcher, Lauren Maher, for out number 2.
Pitch hitting for the Gamecocks, number 11, Michaela Kaiser.
And now pitch hitting for the Gamecocks, number 11, Michaela Kaiser. And the count now, 1-0. And with the 1-0 pitch, called for strike 1. And the 1-1 pitch is hit to the third baseman, thrown over to first for out number 3. And as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning with no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. We move to the bottom of the 5th inning. Your score, Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State nothing.
With one left on base.
And welcome back to Montgomery. Jacksonville State holding on to a 13-0 lead over Alabama State. This is really Alabama State's last chance to make anything happen, as number 24, Zoe Disrow, comes up to bat. And Jacksonville State made a pitching change. And the first pitch to Disrow, as number 9, Jordan Esslinger, is the pitcher now.
Jonathan, you remember who this was that you announced?
Yeah, her name was Zoe Disrow, number 24.
And the next pitch, the 0-1 pitch, is now called for ball number 1. And the next pitch, called for ball 2. And the 2-1 is popped up to Esslinger, and Disrow gets on base. Had a little miscommunication between Esslinger and the catcher, Abby Perkins.
If they didn't touch it when it came back foul, then it's foul.
And Zoe Disrow back to the plate. 2-2 the count. And a little high and outside for ball number 3. Full count now for Disrow. And the 3-2 will walk Disrow over to first.
Pitch hitting for the Hornets, number 18, Kelsey Long.
And now coming in, Kelsey Long for the Hornets. Pinch hitting. And we're going to bring in a pinch runner, Jordan Capel, for the Hornets.
Pitch running for the Hornets, number 9, Jordan Capel.
And the first pitch is called for ball one. And the 1-0 pitch is called now for strike one. Bottom of the fifth inning, 13-0 score here. Jacksonville State with a lead. Alabama State's got to do something here. And the 1-1 is called for strike two. And the 1-2 pitch is called for strike three. 1 out now for the Hornets here in the bottom of the fifth inning.
Next up at bat for the Hornets, number 8, Jasmine Rogers.
And now coming up to bat for the Hornets in the 8th spot, number 8, Jasmine Rogers. Batters 9, 1, and 2 up to bat. And the first pitch thrown to Rogers is called for strike one. Alabama State's got to do something here. 13-0. And the 0-1 is called ball one. And the 1-1 is now called for strike two. 1-2 the count with Rogers up to bat. And the 1-2 is fouled back at the top of the net. Still 1-2. And the 1-2 is popped back up. And the 1-2 is hit out into left field, and that will put Rogers over at first and move a runner over to second.
Next up at bat for the Hornets, second baseman, number 14, Jada Gardner.
And now coming up to bat in the 9th spot, Jada Gardner. After Gardner, batters 1, 2, and 3 up next for the Hornets. And it looks like they're going to bring in a pinch runner for Rogers, number 25, Janiyah Boykin.
Running for the Hornets, number 25, Janiyah Boykin.
And the first pitch is called for ball one. And the 1-0 pitch is called for strike one. And the 1-1 is now called for strike 2. Gardner with a 1-2 count, 1 out. Bottom of the 5th, 13-0 Gamecocks lead. And the 1-2 left Gardner swinging for strike number 3. That'll make 2 outs for the Hornets.
For the Hornets, center fielder number 1, Kendall Doremus.
And now coming up to bat in the 1 spot, number 1, Kendall Doremus. And the first pitch called for ball 1. And the 1-0 called for strike 1. Doremus tried to go for the bunt there. And the 1-1 now called for strike 2. Make it or break it time for Doremus. 1-2 the count with 2 outs. And the 1-2. A little bit outside for ball 2. 2 runners on base for the Hornets. Scoring run at second base. And the 2-2 is hit into left field. That'll bring around 1 runner, possibly 2, but no. They're going to hold the runner at third, making the score. Alabama State with 1 run on the board.
Left fielder number 3, Bailey Greenlee.
And now coming up to bat, the senior, number 3, left fielder, Bailey Greenlee. And the first pitch is hit out into right center, and that will be the ball game. Your final score, Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State 1. Coming up this weekend, Alabama State will be back in SWAC play, and the game on Friday will start at 5 p.m. Saturday's game starts at 3 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. Again, the first game of a 3-game series against Florida A&M will start Friday at 5 p.m. For Joseph Moore, that will be the ball game here tonight at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. With your final score again, Jacksonville State 13, Alabama State 1.